Give out. When you practice, you do anything, it's forgiving. The parami is not for keeping, for accumulating. It's forgiving, whatever it is, a little or a lot. Give out. And you don't have to try to be liberated in any way. To give in the giving, it is liberating in itself. When you give, don't expect anything in return. If you expect anything in return, it's not liberating in that giving. Any giving in itself is liberating. Don't expect anything. Don't expect any kind of liberation. To give out the parami, it is formless. Constantly give out, open up completely, and it won't hold back your karma, your karmic difficulties as well when you open up completely. Use the great compassion sentences. Everything. Think of the word everything constantly. That is a lotus in bloom. If it is one thing or two things, it's not a lotus in bloom. It has to be everything that is a blooming lotus. Not grasping on the blooming itself. Blooming that is liberating in itself. That is released from the blooming itself. Everything that is to cut, both cut and not cut, together everything. It is not attached, both attached and not attached with everything. Just cut. Cut, both cut and not cut, together with everything. That is all it is, of not attached, both attached and not attached, together. That is blooming out of the blooming, blooming liberated from the blooming itself. Released for everything, not to emphasize or worsen any situation in the samsara. It's not our duty to support, to maintain the samsara, only to end for the samsara, to release and relax for the samsara. That's the only thing we do for the samsara. It's not our duty to support, to maintain anicca or anatta of the samsara, only to end for the samsara. Just cut. If you don't cut, it won't end. If you don't cut, it won't come to an end. So cut. And when you cut, it's not for one thing or two things. It's for everything. That is a thought that enlightens it itself. Proceed with the great compassion. Don't focus on self. The Buddhas enlightened for us. It means that the Buddhas enlightened for the world and samsara. We have to enlighten for everything, for the world and samsara as well, not to enlighten for ourselves. That is not great compassion. If you end up doing it for yourself, that's why we have separation. We have a lot of temples. It's not only about this temple in particular. Everywhere is temple. The Buddha is everywhere. This small world is too small for the Buddhas. The Buddha's been everywhere. Every inch of this world, something is visible, something is invisible. Even the footprints. The Buddhas enlightened for the world and samsara. So this samsara should enlighten for one another, not to enlighten for themselves. That is selfish. That's why we have separate temples. Those are the temples of selfishness, of grasping. Be the temple that give, that sacrifice. So first of all, you have to open your mind. use the great thought, everything that is the word, that is the foundation of the basis of your mind. And the mind won't be just the mind, knowing, thinking, seeing. Mindfulness meditation won't be about just that. The wisdom won't be about just the wisdom. The parami isn't just the parami. Everything means it's spread out. It won't be only on that. That is the basis of great compassion. That's the temple of giving. So every inch in this world is the temple. If you have separate temples, that means that you still have boundary. Those are the temples of separations, of grasping, of selfishness. Try to gain. When you want to gain something, you focus on self. The meditation will be only about meditation. Mindfulness is about mindfulness, limited at just that. So when you do everything, think of the word everything instead of focus on self. When you cut for everything. You're doing mindfulness. It's mindfulness for everything. So it release and relax for everything. And come out of grasping, of selfishness. It has to be beyond. It is something without limit. When you focus, there is a boundary, there is a limit. That's why there is a limit, a boundary, because you want to grasp. And once you have that idea, you start to argue, to have conflict with one another, fighting with one another. A true temple doesn't belong to anyone, not even the Buddha. The true temple, the enlightenment, and enlightenment for the world and samsara isn't for grasping, not for self. To enlighten for the world and the samsara isn't about trying to grasp on the samsara or all the beings. To enlighten, to cut for all beings, for everything. There is no condition, no binding. That is why it is the temple of great compassion. Everything is the temple. And you cannot destroy this temple. You cannot have limitation for this temple. It is the temple that you cannot destroy because it's the temple of great compassion. All other kinds of temples to attach to a particular land, particular place, that is attachment, that is the result of the karmic difficulty. Until every mind is unlocked from this attachment and open up to have the great compassion, everything you do, walk, sleep, sit, bless, and give out. These two hands, every Buddha used them to bless. So we should follow the Buddhas and use the hands to give. These are the signs of giving. The Buddhas doesn't hold this for themselves. There's no copyright to this use of hands. You can use it the same way as the Buddhas. It is the sign of giving, so that we can end for the samsara. If we still separate between givers and receivers, that wouldn't be an end, because it's not balanced. The Buddhas enlighten, not for themselves, but for everyone. Enlighten and enlighten for everything, all at once. simultaneously. So we as followers of the Buddhas should enlighten for everything, for all beings, not for ourselves. It's not it. We are given from the Buddha, so we should keep on giving to others. It is annoying, it is irritating because the samsara hasn't come to an end. It's only the people that try to end for themselves and leave the samsara not ended. All the arahants are among the samsara. Even when you are enlightened, you have come to an end. You are still in the middle of the samsara. You better extinguish and empty, not for yourself, but for everything all around you. So all everything be the sunyata nibbana all together. Doing for self, that is the biggest obstacle of enlightenment and great compassion. As long as you still worried about attach and detach, you won't be able to have great compassion. Great compassion is beyond detach and attach. Everything has to cut, both cut and not cut, all together, everything. Not attached, both attached and not attached together. That is a true mind. And everything will not attach, both attached and not attached automatically. If you still practice, you still fix on the concept of attached, not attached, that is still a loop that you caught up with. If you're still grasping on attached and not attached, still keep on being attached and detached. When you are tired of being attached, you detach. And when you are tired of detached, you become attached. Nibbana doesn't have either release or fixate, attach or detach. Attach and detach, that is still a level of human beings or noble beings. But Nibbana is beyond that. It's the end of both noble beings and human beings. It doesn't have either having or not having. Not having both attached and not attached. Not attached, both attached and not attached. Cut, both cut and not cut. Not relate, both relate and not relate. That is Nibbana. Nibbana for the samsara. And everything after that is everything. The great compassion. So whoever that is doing for self, you are obstructing yourself. You don't have to blame husband, wife, or your fortune as obstacle, but it is you yourself that obstruct yourself. So open up everything, cut, both cut and not cut together. Don't blame anyone. If you don't cut yourself, you stopping yourself, you hinder yourself. If you don't cut, so cut and cut for everything. Don't blame anyone. Let all and everything be balanced. No matter if it is the four elements that is spread in the air, trees, beings, non-beings, samsara or non-samsara, all everything cut, both cut and not cut, all the same. You don't have to separate anything. You don't have to differentiate anything, all everything the same, balanced, enlightened throughout for everything. Just cut everything. And not to focus on blessing the beings, but everything. When you extinguish throughout, not just only extinguish for the beings, not only inner or outer, but everything. It has to be beyond even the closing or opening of lotus, beyond budding and blooming. Every lotus doesn't bloom and fixate on the blooming. It's blooming out of the blooming itself. Every lotus, everything is not just about let go of anything. It's let go of the letting go itself. It renounces even the renouncing itself. The lotus in bloom, let go of the blooming, and that is when the fruit is benefit for the samsara. If the lotus fixate on the blooming, is not benefit the samsara. If you let go and renounce here and there, that is not enough for the samsara. You cannot help the samsara. You have to give up even the give up itself, renounce even the renouncing itself, not grasping even the non-grasping itself. That is when you can help the samsara. You have to renounce even the renouncing itself, not just to renounce anything. You have to be beyond both renounce and not renounce. You have to be beyond give up and not give up. That is when it is the great compassion. For every Buddha's time is the same. So everything, listen carefully, open up, everything, give out. Not to focus on receiving and getting. Think of the word everything and give out. Be careful, be careful. Don't think that there is nothing. There are 31, 32 realms of existence, visible and invisible. If you cannot see something, it doesn't mean that they are not there. Don't deny something when you don't see it. They are there even when you not see them. When you can't see, just accept that you can't see, but don't say that they are not there. So everything, keep blessing, keep giving. Open your eyes, ears. Later on, your senses will become divine. Doesn't matter if it is a normal senses or divine senses. It has to be beyond. From not grasping, both grasping and not grasping. From not attached, both attached and not attached. And you won't hold on, you won't be attached to either normal senses or divine senses. Be careful. Cut both cut and not cut all together. Make conclusion for the samsara, the conclusion of essence of enlightenment. Don't waste your time. Don't be hesitant. Don't observe or check anything before. Just make conclusion right away. Just cut. Don't be afraid that this temple will stay or not. The temple is everywhere in this samsara. It's all around. But you just not enlightened to that fact. The footprint of the Buddhas are not just 4 or 5 prints that you have seen. But over time, throughout all the Buddha's time, there are so many footprints. Certain Buddha enlightened mid-air. Some Buddhas enlightened under a shade of trees. There are so many Buddhas. So you don't have to hesitate with the great compassion. Open up and think of the word everything.
มันจะได้ยิ่งกว่าทางสายเอกทางสายโทสาย
And it will be beyond any path, no matter if it's a major, minor, or anything.
แล้วก็อย่าอยู่
It is
แค่มรรค
everything.
องค์แปดด้วยไม่งั้นเดี๋ยวมันก็มักใครมักมันอยู่นั่นแหละ
And don't
ดำเนิน
fixate
มหา
on
กุณาเลย
the eightfold path either. Proceed with the great
ทุก
compassion.
อย่างดิ
Everything.
ตื่นก็ทุกอย่างตื่นอย่าแค่
Awaken
ตื่น
means
ใจ
everything
ใน
awakened.
ดิทุกอย่างตื่น
Not awaken inner or outer, but everything awaken.
ไม่ถ้าตัดก็ทุกอย่าง
If you
ไม่
cut,
ไม่
everything
ถ้า
cut,
ไม่
cut
ไม่
both
ไม่
cut
ทุก
and
อย่า
not
ง
cut, all together, everything. That is the way. Constantly. Do it constantly. That is the essence to cut and enlighten for everything.
ต่อไปไม่ว่าลูกจะไปจุติที่
And later on, no matter where you born again, you can help release and liberate wherever you born again.
ไม่ใช่ไปเกิดประเทศไหนก็เอาประเทศนั้นเอ้ยไอ้สันดานเห็นแก่ได้เห็นแก่เอาเอ้ย
Don't grasp on any nation or be attached to any
เนี่ย
place.
อย่างนี้แล้วเนี่ยคุณเกิดประเทศไทยถ้าคุณไปประเทศลาวคุณให้กับประเทศลาว
Like you now, you are in Thailand. You
ที่
should
ไหน
give.
บนโลกไปเนี่ยคุณไปไหนคุณก็ไปให้ไปแผ่
If
ให้
you are born
ไม่ใช่ไปเอา
in Laos, you should also give, even when you are there. No matter where you go, where you are, keep giving, not grasping.
สันดานจริงตายทิ้งกันกี่รอบแล้ว
You have died many
ตายกี่
times,
รอบแล้วมันก็ยังไม่ตรัดรู้อีก
but haven't enlightened.
ไปอยู่ตรงไหนก็ไปให้ดิ
Wherever you are, give,
เดี๋ยวมันจะยิ่งกว่ากัลยาณมิตรกัลยาณธรรมอีก
and it will be beyond even
ไป
good
ไหนก็ไป
friends,
ช่วยหลุดช่วยไปด้วย
Dhamma friends.
ช่วยอะไรได้ก็ช่วย
Wherever you are,
นั่นแหละ
wherever you will be,
วัดแห่งการหลุดพ้นช่วยกันพ้นทุกข์
Give
ด้วยกัน
for everything, for everyone.
มันไม่ใช่แค่ประเทศนี้ประเทศ
Help one another to be released and liberated. It's not
ไหนก็หลุดพ้นช่วยกัน
a separate nation or country, but it is the world and samsara all together
มันก็รวมหมดทั้ง
as a whole, not just human beings.
มนุษย์เองก็
There are non-human beings as
มนุษ
well.
ย์เองก็ช่วยมนุษย์ด้วยกัน
We can help one another.
ช่วย
Human
ให้
beings
คนอื่นไป
help human
พ้นทุก
beings.
ข์ด้วยกันในแต่ละอย่างแต่ละเรื่อง
Released
นั่นแหละคือมหากรุณาศาสตร์
from suffering for one another. That is the art of great compassion. Whatever you suffer with, you can help one another to release from that suffering. That is how you have the great compassion.
สังสารวัฏเนี่ยมันติดขัดข้องคาเยอะแยะจะตาย
There's a lot of obstruction, obstacle, a lot of suffering in this
เรื่อง
samsara.
ไหนก็นั่นแหละก็โปรดสัตว์พ้นทุกข์แหละ
You can bless
จะพ้นทั้งหมดหรือไม่ทั้งหมด
sentient beings when you can help
ช่วยหลุดช่วย
ease out suffering.
มีเนาะมหากรุณาธิคุณนะลูกนะ
Great compassion all the way.
โอเคแล้วนิมนต์ตักอาหาร
That's the end.